Hello, I'm Paul Chartier. This is Heart of Gold. We've got the Parkinson's folks with us today. Diane Vance is the secretary. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
And Dave Smith, you're on the board.
I am on the board.
And there's a special reason that both of you are sitting here today. Dave?
Well, my special reason is I'm on the board because it gives me an opportunity to support the community, but I have Parkinson's myself. I was diagnosed about 7 years ago, and I've learned a lot about the Parkinson's disease since I've moved to Lexington about 4 years ago and was able to join the Parkinson's support group, and it does terrific work in the community.
We're glad you're here, enjoying Lexington and getting great support from these folks.
Absolutely.
Diane, you're on the board. You're involved in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
What's your story? You've got a great one.
Well, my husband had a form of Parkinson called Lewy body dementia, which is the Parkinson movement disorder along with cognitive difficulties. And I was his caregiver for quite a number of years. The Lexington area support group was helpful to me, not as much as I wanted because I couldn't get there as much as I wanted. But it was a great opportunity to talk with other people who understood what you were going through.
And you married him later in life.
Correct.
And how far into your marriage did he get Parkinson's?
We had been married probably 22 years before I could start to see some differences. And he passed away shortly before we would have made 29 years.
Being a caregiver is not easy. It takes a special talent, a special level of tenacity, and good for you for doing it. What signs did he exhibit that you saw that for people watching, they might think, I've seen that?
Well, in the case of Lewy body dementia, you do see some Parkinson's symptoms, but you also see some cognitive symptoms. And it's not quite like Alzheimer's. It's not necessarily memory, but you see other types of things such as difficulties with executive function, which is the ability to plan. And he had been a high school principal, and he was a great planner, but that skill deteriorated. He also had trouble finding his way places, and he'd always been very good at navigating. And he had a certain type of sleep disorder, which is very common with Lewy body dementia, that actually started 20 years before any symptoms. So it is an indication that many of these neurological diseases actually begin many years before we see clinical symptoms.
That we just don't know. When you say a sleep disorder, for anybody watching, how did that manifest itself?
It's called REM sleep disorder. Basically, it means you're not paralyzed anymore when you're dreaming, so you act out your dreams in a very vigorous way.
Getting up out of bed?
Yes. Punching your wife.
Oh.
Kicking covers. Just very, very active dreams, and it's one of the strong markers that Lewy body dementia may be down the road. We didn't know it then, luckily.
Interesting to know and to share right now. Dave, what did you see early on that you thought something is not right?
Well, Parkinson's is different in different ways for everybody. There are many ways that you can exhibit Parkinson's examples. In my case, I was still working at that time, and I had a relatively high-profile job where I signed a lot of checks every week, and I found myself I could not sign my signature, and my handwriting became very small, and that's something that is an indicator of Parkinson's. And about the same time, I had trouble on the computer. I couldn't type on the computer. It was just something that had developed, and it was affecting my work. And so I retired earlier than I had planned to because I had something I had to deal with. And fortunately, the medication that I take has helped me quite a bit. I'm better today than I was 3 years ago. And some of the activities that I'm involved in through the Parkinson Support Program have helped me a lot. I'm very actively involved in what's called the Rock Steady boxing program, which
I
is
have
at Title
heard
Boxing.
about that.
We're really active with the boxing. It's very intense, and it fits your mind with your body, so to speak. And it's a great program to be involved with.
Interesting that that's a therapy, and Muhammad Ali had severe Parkinson's.
And you've seen Rocksteady recently. It's received some notice nationally through Michael J. Fox Foundation. Alan Alda recently was diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Yes.
He's doing the Rocksteady program, I understand. And, it's been quite helpful for those of us in this community who have Parkinson's.
You mentioned you've had this issue for 4 years. You're better now than you were 3 years ago. What did you look like 3 years ago?
Well, I couldn't sign my name. I couldn't write at all. And I've regained that ability. And I think it's another indicator of Parkinson's is how you appear when you walk. You can have what they call frozen legs, where your legs literally freeze in place and you have the threat of falling over. I've been working real hard on trying to improve myself in that area. That's a problem area that I have.
This is not a test, but we're going to give the phone number and the website that people can go to if they want more information.
Website is parkinsonslexington.com. The phone number 859-277-1040.
I think it's important to note that number is answered by a woman who is the champion of the Parkinson's effort in our community, Elaine Keith. She's a volunteer who contributes more than a full-time person would to the program, and making sure all the activities take place that provide the support to people in the community like myself and the others who need the support. She's doing a terrific job, and we have no paid staff with our Parkinson's support organization. We're all volunteers, many as caregivers or patients, and it's through that volunteer effort that we're able to accomplish what we're doing.
When I was a kid, when people did good things, my mom would say they had a heart of gold. Your staff, they're the ones that have hearts of gold to be doing what they're doing. And Diane, for you to step in and continue the service, why are you doing it?
I know what a difficult journey it was, and if there is anything that I can do to help somebody else, then I want to do that.
In your role of secretary, what does that look like?
I do correspondence. I take care of the acknowledgement letters for the donations that we get. I've also tried to help in other ways of rewriting bylaws and organizing records. And this organization has been, because it's not there are no paid staff, it has operated somewhat informally over the years. But it's grown now to where there's over 400 members. And so we're working hard to formalize more of the procedures and activities that we've done. And that was one of Dave and my projects in last year, is to rewrite the bylaws, which is truly exciting.
So this is what happens when you mix a chemist with a CEO of a nonprofit. This is what happens.
This is what
This is the
happens.
magic that happens.
Yes.
You retired how many years ago?
I retired 3 years ago from Eastern Kentucky University.
And you are how busy now compared to when you were teaching?
Not quite as busy, but I try to stay busy.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness that you're doing this. Let's give the website and phone number again. We want people be able to reach somebody to get help, talk about the science, and talk about support group?
The website again is parkinsonslexington.com. The phone number is 859-277-1040.
With your staff being volunteers, it still takes money to do research and give programs. What can people do? Where can they go to make donations? Are there big events that you've got coming up? What does the fundraising side look like?
Well, we have an event coming up in the fall, in November, that we call a Gathering of the Good. And it's a program that involves Parkinson's patients, caregivers, donors, people who have an interest in helping out in the community. They can contact us through the website or the phone number and participate in that program. Donations are critical to a nonprofit organization. I came here 4 years ago after serving a nonprofit organization in Southern California, and I know that without financial donations and volunteer support,
absolutely,
it doesn't happen. And so we really would encourage people to recognize what we're doing in the community, the 400 plus that are receiving support from our efforts, and help us in any way they can.
You mentioned Alan Alda, and when you talked about the woman answering the phone, I think about Radar kind of running the whole operation with the MASH unit, and she probably needs help. If people do want to volunteer, what does that look like? Is it answering phones? Is it doing correspondence? Is it helping people that have Parkinson's? Is it connecting them with caregivers? How does that work?
All the above.
All of the above.
Mm-hmm. And
we don't really have an official office, so Elaine answers the phone most of the time for us.
She's the one.
But there are always things that we need help with.
Mm-hmm.
So if people want to volunteer, we certainly would be happy to have those extra hands.
Like what kinds of things, if they called up to volunteer, what kinds of things are on the menu?
Well, the big event coming up in November, we need help in organizing that event.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be tasks that need to be done at the event. People could help out.
I'm sure you've got a history of great people that have helped. People watching, people that you'll send the link to, are event organizers, fundraisers. Let's give that website again and the phone number. And for people that have the talents and skills to want to put on an event and or have family members that have Parkinson's, we want them to go online and make the phone call. Diane?
The website, parkinsonslexington.com. The phone number, 859-277-1040.
Dave, in the last minute, make the plea to people to get involved in the Parkinson's Association.
Well, it's important for people to be involved because so many people in the community are affected by Parkinson's. And I think the support that people are receiving in Lexington is, to this point, is just the starting point to broader support in the future. The disease is not going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
It affects many hundreds of people, probably many hundreds that we don't reach at this point. And anything we can do to help reach out to others and through our support group efforts will be beneficial, I'm sure.
Well, Diane, thank you for continuing the legacy of Mr. Mall, whose family is a crazy story that we know each other. It's crazy that nobody would believe. And Dave, thank you for the bravery in sitting here and sharing your story. And we want people to get involved. And after watching this, they will. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I am Paul Chartier. We'll be right back on Heart of Gold.